welcome back to another video on my channel. My name is Trisha, and in today's video I am going to be showing you guys Casper's new upgraded enclosure. It's going to be his lifetime enclosure. I'm finally taking him out of quarantine. He is my blue-eyed leucistic ball python for anyone that is unfamiliar. He is pretty new. I've had him for like little under a month. So yeah, he's been quarantining this whole time, and it is time to just put him in his new enclosure. And I filmed the whole process of how I set it up, so I'm going to go through all of that and show you guys how I did the background and how I set it all up, and then just reveal his enclosure. I know it's a little early. I was gonna save this for Halloween, but I just can't wait, and I kind of want to film a reptile room tour. So yeah, we're doing it a little early and celebrating Halloween early because I have zero patience, and I'm just super excited for Halloween and this enclosure. So before I get started, I do want to mention that this enclosure is from Zen Habitats. This is the 48 by 24 by 16 inch enclosure. So it's 4 feet long, 2 feet deep, and then 16 inches tall. It is PVC, so it's perfect for ball pythons. It locks in that humidity and heat. It can also support a heat pad because it's made of PVC, and I love this enclosure so much. I have the same one for my coral glow ball python Chaos, and he's just doing fantastic in it, so it is time to upgrade Casper. And for anyone that might be a little bit concerned because Casper is still a baby going in such a large enclosure, people think that you cannot put reptiles in really large enclosures because they're going to be stressed out. But when you do this type of a thing, it's not stressful as long as you provide a lot of hiding places and foliage and just ways for them to feel secure and be able to hide away. If you do all of that, then they should not be overly stressed out whatsoever. And in doing this with Casper, I noticed that he's just enjoying and utilizing all of the enrichment. He's all over the enclosure, and he has not been stressed out, at least from what I can see right now. So I haven't fed him yet. We're gonna see if he eats. That'll be like the #1 thing to prove if he's stressed or not, or if he's adjusting in his new setup, but I'll keep you guys updated on that. But that's a whole other thing. I may just do a whole video topic on this, to be honest. But you guys should definitely check out Zen Habitats. I have an affiliate link with them. It is in my description. So if you do choose to shop from Zen Habitats, I would really appreciate if you use that code. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how I did the background now. So normally I just put text on the bottom, and this time I decided to just like talk you guys through the whole thing. So that's what we're going to do. Let me know what you guys like better, because I don't know, I just wanted to try something new. So when I wanted to start this enclosure, first of all, I had to build the Zen Habitat halfway, because once you put like the lid on and everything, it is impossible to reach the background. So, and you have to like really get in there to make a naturalistic background. So I just built it halfway and then was able to tip it on the side. That way I can build it how I wanted it to be. These are all of the items that I used to set up the background. And then I just set the cork bark pieces on the back where I wanted them to be. I wanted them to be similar to A Nightmare Before Christmas, like the trees and the one scene. I don't know why, I just had like that image in mind when I wanted to create this background. So you tell me if it kind of looks like that. I don't know, I got kind of funky later on. Then it is time to start the spray foam process, and I use the Great Stuff spray foam. So I had to fill in the entire background with this, and I had to get underneath all of the cork bark pieces and all around them to secure them into place and make sure that they will stay. And then I'm pretty sure I used 2 cans of the Great Stuff spray foam for this, just for this background alone. It did take quite a bit of spray foam, but it is worth it. So yeah, it turned out great. I got the Great Stuff and everything that I needed for this enclosure from Josh's Frog, so it worked out really well. So after that, that is what it looked like after I spray foamed everything. So this has to sit and dry for 24 hours. So after that, I just let it sit overnight. This is what it looked like the next day when I checked on it. Everything was solid and it expanded. I also added some moss on top of it, but I added the moss way too late. So as you can see in this clip, none of the moss is there because none of it was actually stuck on there. So that was my fault. It was a mistake that I made. So the next step that I did was I started to carve out the spray foam to make sure that it was carved the way that I wanted it to be, because as I said, it expands. This is what it looked like after I carved everything, nice and smooth, and there was a lot of excess foam. So now I decided to add the moss back on, and I had to use silicone to get it to stick. I was trying to avoid using silicone for this process, but it's something that I ended up having to do anyway. So this is the moss with the silicone underneath, all stuck in place the way I wanted it to be. And then I decided to, oh yeah, I just wanted to show you guys, like, it's stuck. Like, I was a little worried it wouldn't stick, but it definitely stuck, so thank goodness. So that's my moss patches where I wanted them to be. And then the next step was to paint the background with Drylock. So the Drylock that I got is a light gray, and I didn't really like this color. I wanted it to be darker for Casper's Enclosure because it's supposed to be this Halloween enclosure. So I had to use a black cement dye to mix it in. I believe it was called charcoal. So it ended up being more of like a dark gray, but I really like how it turned out. I think it looked really pretty. So yeah, it was like a really fun thing. The next thing that I had to do was just paint the background and cover all of the foam and try to get as close as I could to the cork bark and to the moss. It was a little bit difficult, but it was a fun job. I enjoyed painting it. It was way better than silicone. So this is what it looked like after I painted everything. I really liked how it looked, and then again I had to wait another 24 hours for all of this to dry and check on it the next day. And there's Chacho being cute. So yeah, hi Chach. So then this is what it looked like the next day after everything dried. I really liked it, but I noticed that there were some parts along the cork bark where it was still white and I didn't fill it in all the way. So I had to decide to go back in and repaint all of that because, as you can see, like, it's kind of noticeable, all of the white pieces that are sticking out. So yeah. So here I am about to cover it up and do a second coat on all of it because I just didn't like how it looked. And there it is, just painting it. And then this is what it looked like after doing that second coat. All dry. Then I had to wait another 24 hours for this to dry again. And then this is what it looked like after that second coat. So like there's a lot of white at the top, but I decided to cover all of this with plants anyway, but everything else turned out really great. And then here are my fake plants that I got from Michael's that I wanted to use for this enclosure. They had these really cool carnivorous plants, the Venus flytraps at Michael's. So as you can see, the wire was huge, but I was able to pull them out luckily, so that way I can shove them where I wanted them to be. But it was like really awkward for me to try and film this and like show pulling them out. I was struggling so hard, guys, as you can see. So yep, that's what I basically did for all of those. I pulled each wire out individually, and then I was able to shove all of those into place into the foam where I wanted them to be. So yeah, and lots of plants. So here I am just shoving in, it looks like a spider plant of some sort. This one had a lot of roots, so it was a little bit difficult to get in, but I really, really love how this turned out. And then here are the other plants that I shoved into the foam the way I wanted them to be. I really like how this turned out. So it was a lot of fun. My favorite part is always shoving the plants into the background. So this is what it looked like in the light, just to get a better view because I was working on it at nighttime and it was kind of hard to see. So everything is now done with the background. So then I was able to actually finish setting up the whole enclosure and bring it into the reptile room and then just admire all of the Zen habitats that I have stacked. I just love how they look. So then it was time to install the heat pad on the bottom. So I'm using a large heat pad for this. And when I do this, they have a sticky end on the heat pad, but I had to add a lot of tape just to make sure that it was extra secure. So that is why you see all of this tape. And then I'm showing that I put the probe on the bottom of the heat pad. Actually, it would be the top of the heat pad. So yeah, that's how the temperature is going to be controlled with the thermostat. So then there's a little part just showing like the heat pad and how I secured it just to make sure it's there. So yeah, sometimes I skip that step and don't really show it in the video, so I just wanted to show it for this one. So then I am showing the substrate that I used. I used Repti bark and some leaf litter and then some moss as well that is absorbing in the water. I decided to add a philodendron as well because I found a little bit of cocoa cradle left over, and that's what I used for my other plants that are still thriving. So if it worked for them, I decided to try it again for this philodendron. Even though it looks kind of sad, hopefully it will cheer up in time. So that is the philodendron that I added to it. So after that, then I decided to add the moss after it absorbed all of the water and was nice and moist. So there it is in the enclosure. There's all of my substrate with the Repti bark and moss mixed together. Then I added the leaf litter on top of everything as a final touch. And then this is the old enclosure that was the quarantine setup for Casper. So I basically just took all of this stuff out and added my decorations into the enclosure for the final results. And this is the before shot, and I will show you the after now. Alright guys, so Casper's Halloween setup is now complete. I'm just about to put him in, but I just wanted to go through everything and show you guys everything that's going on in this enclosure. It is very filled out and it's going to be very, very spacious for him. So I wanted to make sure that I put a lot of hides and foliage and things for him to feel secure. That way he's not overly stressed. I really don't think he will be, because he is typically like not a very stressed out snake. He's very adventurous. He likes to check things out. So I think that he's going to take full advantage of this full enclosure. So we're starting on the right side over here, and first of all, I do want to show my stickers because I am obsessed with these. So this is from Cloud Forest Design, and he sent me this for free because he is amazing and he knew I was doing a Halloween themed enclosure. So he has Halloween themed stickers like this. So if you guys want to get labels for your animals and get the Halloween ones, go for it while they're available because it's so cool. And then this one is from Nadalyn Beatos, and you can find her on Etsy. She also sent me this one for free that I added, so I love these stickers. I think that they're just so cute. So starting off on the right side of this enclosure, I did decide to put one live plant. I wasn't going to do it because I didn't have that much substrate for it. I did find a little bit left over of cocoa cradle, so I decided to put in this philodendron. As I showed you earlier, the heat pad is actually on this side of the enclosure. It's a large, so it does cover a good portion of the space. So this is the worm hide right here. It's very hidden and covered. I just want him to feel secure. There's also like another cork bark that also can double as a hide. It literally has a little hole in it, which is really cool too. So I want to show you guys, because like a snake could just like go in and out of that. I think that's so cool. So I just wanted to add a lot of hides. So he has that one, he has his second hide back there, and then there is just foliage all throughout this whole enclosure, just foliage for him to hide in. So this was actually Chaos's old little climbing thing. It also doubles as a hide. They can crawl in, sorry, I just hit that, that was really loud. They can crawl inside of it and hide. Chaos got like way too big for it and he would get like, I wouldn't be able to get him out of there. But I'm going to give Casper the advantage of using this thing and being able to hide in it because there's a lot of space in there and he's very small. So I think that he would like that. This is a Halloween decoration that I just decided to add because I think it'll look cool at nighttime. I'm not going to leave this light on all of the time. It's just a random thing for Halloween that I wanted to try out since this is a Halloween enclosure. So yeah, I just decided to add that. So we're going to go onto the other side, which is going to be the cool side. Oh, look at the rainbow coming in right now. I love when the rainbows come through the windows. All right, so on the other side, we have this perch that he can climb on. So I have like the same exact one in Chaos's enclosure, this perch over here. Chaos goes on this thing every single night like a green tree python. Like, it's so funny. He just is very, very much utilizing that. So I wanted to give Casper the same advantage. So I have some fake plants. The fake plants that I'm using, like this one and all of the carnivorous plants, are from Michael's. So they're all plastic. So I wanted to make sure I'm not getting anything that can retain bacteria with fabric. So it's all plastic. So we have a water bowl right up here in the front. We have a little piece of cork bark there just for some enrichment. And then underneath this perch in the back corner, I have this rounded cork bark that can also double as a hide. It is literally rounded in like a cave, so he can go in there and hide in there if he wants to as a cool hide. And then I added another cool hide right here, just in case. Like, I just want him to have options. He literally has an option right there, and right there for the cool side. So I just want him to have a lot of options when it comes to hides. I feel like I'm never going to see him in this enclosure, but that's okay because it is a really big enclosure for a little snake. And you just want to make sure that they feel secure and have a lot of different places to hide and feel safe. So yeah, that's pretty much everything. And then the substrate is Repti bark. I used a little bit of cocoa cradle for the plant. And then I used moss, and then I used leaf litter to top everything off. So I'm going to go ahead and let him in here and see how he likes it.
Perfect.